Hey guys, welcome into today's video. This is going to be a brand new series on my channel. It's going to be a foundation a day for 42 days. The reason that I wanted to start this video is that I have 51 foundations in my permanent collection. It's the number 2 item, maybe number 1 right now, of makeup that I really like testing. I'm really into testing new foundations. It switches back and forth usually between blush, eyeshadow, and foundation, my 3 favorite makeup categories, probably a lot of people's favorite makeup categories. But 51 foundations is just too much for me to have in my collection. I recently did a makeup declutter, and I will link that up in the cards, where I went through my whole collection and I decluttered, breaking some of my makeup into 3 different categories: keep, declutter, and then I made up a third, which was items that I want to keep for reference, but I'm going to take out of my permanent collection and move into the closet where I keep makeup that I think is popular, relevant, things that I may want to reference in future videos, but that I don't want to use in my personal everyday life. But I did not do that with foundation. And recently I've gone through a really big skin change in the last 8 months to a year. I have gone from really, really dry skin to very, very oily skin, and a lot of foundations that used to work for me that were more on the dewy, natural finish side just aren't working these days. So I'm grabbing and loving more matte foundations. So some of my foundations in my collection predate my skin change. So the reason for this series, I don't want to just declutter foundations based on memory. I want to retest a lot of them because some of them are pretty expensive. Some of them I may re-love, some of them I may not like or may not work for me now, and it's time to make that determination. So while I have 51 foundations in my collection, this is foundation a day for 42 days because there are 9 foundations I have already made a decision on. Some of them I'm actually testing. They haven't gone into speed reviews, but I've worn them very recently, so I know exactly how I feel about them, but I will have to move them into wherever they're gonna go, keep, declutter, or in the reference pile. And then there are some that I'm testing that I already absolutely love, haven't gone into a speed reviews, and I know that I'm going to be keeping them. And then 2 of them I have already made the decision that I'm going to declutter. Hey guys, welcome into day 33. I am very excited to do today's video. My retesting foundation pile of 42 foundations is getting smaller. We are getting down there at day 33. So on today's agenda, we are going to be testing the Purito Cica Clearing BB Cream. So I want to jump right into talking about this, and then I'll tell you guys what I remember about this. So Purito is a K-beauty brand. Purito, the name, is combining the English word purify and the Korean word for swale. This only does come in 6 shades. It does retail on places like YesStyle. I did get mine on Amazon. There are other places that it sells, and you can see the list of where it retails at on the Purito website. This does retail for $12 on the Purito website, but you can get it at discounts on YesStyle. I did get it for like $9.80 on Amazon. I have mine in the shade number 13, Neutral Ivory. It is supposed to correct and blur uneven skin tone. It's formulated with Cica extracts to strengthen the skin barrier and provide moisture. It's supposed to give you a soft, dewy finish. It's supposed to have a very blendable and buildable light to medium coverage. It lists best for dry to combo skin on the Purito website. It's made in Korea. It has 1 fluid ounce. And I want to say it has a 36-month shelf life because I purchased this in 2023, and the expiration on it says 2026, 02/20/2026. The reason that I ended up picking this up last year was because a subscriber actually recommended it to me as a really good, very hydrating BB cream. I was really shocked when I tried this for the first time. I was expecting it to be lighter, like sheerer coverage. I was also expecting it to be more liquidy. If you guys saw my swatch, it has like a whipped kind of consistency. It doesn't move. It is very lightweight, and it does give me more coverage than just sheer. If you look at YesStyle, it says that it has sheer coverage. If you look at Purito's website, it says light to medium coverage, and then it lists that it's buildable. I do remember it being a pretty darn dewy finish overall. I want to say that I was using this quite a bit when I first got it, so it feels very light right now. Like I was kind of feeling it. I was like, oh, I feel like it's kind of like down here. I feel like I've used a considerable amount. I do believe this has sunscreen in it because it smells of sunscreen, but every description list that I was looking at online, there's no like specific call outs that it has SPF. So I really have to kind of like look in detail of the ingredient list on this. But anyway, let's get to applying it. I'm going to do a clean brush today. I do still think it's like light to medium, but still on the lighter side. Yep, pretty darn dewy, and I actually really like this amount of coverage. I'd say it's between light and medium. with what I put on. It does have a dewy finish, so it feels dewy to the touch. It definitely has sunscreen in it. I've said that before. Can't read the packaging because it's all in Korean, but healthy looking glow, flawless coverage, EO and fragrance free. No call outs of any kind of SPF, so I couldn't tell you like what SPF it is, but there's definitely some in here. The one thing that I can't remember about this is how much longevity it gives me. And I feel like I'm looking for longevity because I did end up keeping the Dr. Jart, which does have SPF in it. I do also have a Paula's Choice tinted sunscreen that I've kept. I didn't do a wear test on that, but that's more for like a pool day here in Florida or just a kind of no makeup day if I'm going out in the sun. And I think I might keep this. It just feels like that might be a little bit excessive. I really only need one or two. And, you know, really the longevity of this is going to be, I think, the deciding factor on whether or not this stays, because I feel like I have what I need in the tinted SPF world. But let's go into the right side now. Although this is just such a beautiful finish. It's hard to deny that this is like absolutely gorgeous on the skin. I'm definitely deliberating as I'm putting this on because I did decide to keep the Dr. Jart. At the same time, I'm thinking this is prettier on the skin. Maybe a better shade match. If you know what the Dr. Jart looks like, it's very similar to the Missha Perfect Cover BB Cream, which is that it has like a gray tinge to it. 6 shades obviously is not a lot. But they call it expandable coverage. It doesn't go super deep, but that's typically how Korean skincare or Korean beauty brands are in general. I'm actually really surprised that they had at least one deep shade for this particular BB cream, whereas most of the time they're just like straight up light shades. So when it gets down to it and we do the final declutter, I actually might end up letting the Dr. Jart go in lieu of this one because I really do think that this one's just, I don't know, the finish of it is very pretty. It looks super healthy on the skin. It also super blendable, just very, very easy to blend in. Honestly, the biggest difference is that this one is like $10 or under and the Dr. Jart is more expensive. And so typically when it comes to getting my money's worth, I'll usually hold on to something that's more expensive. When the formulas are comparable, I want to get my money's worth out of it. And this is easier to repurchase, of course, but you never know. This could be so delicious and delightful. So the way that I handle these wear tests is I go and I finish the rest of my makeup. We do one final check-in. I kind of give you my final thoughts, or at least you can see what it looks like with products put on top of it, etc. And then I leave you guys. I go about my day. I do a natural light check-in right away. I do it at 4 hours and we come back at the end of the night to see how it's looking, how it held up. We look at the footage of the stuff that I recorded on my phone, and then I make a decision as to whether or not this foundation is going to stay or be decluttered. We are at day 33 and so far I feel like I have decluttered 17 and kept 15, I think is where we're at, and the goal is to get to half. So let me go finish the rest of my makeup and we will be right back. Well, I have been gone for probably about an hour. I jumped out and I did another video testing some new drugstore products, and I was doing a little bit of a spring look and it was a little bit chaotic, so it took a little bit longer than just a couple of minutes to finish my makeup up. I like the way that it's wearing so far. I definitely think it gave me medium coverage. It's pretty nice. I'd love to see how long it wears. I'd like to see if it settles into some of my fine lines. I told you guys already that really, if it doesn't last that long, it's going to be a toss-up between like the Dr. Jart and this one because I just don't feel like I need both in my collection. But I'm almost leaning towards this one just because I think it gives you more coverage than the Dr. Jart does. And I feel like it's better shade matched. It's not like as gray tinged. So anyway, this is really what it looks like right now. I will jump out. I'll show you guys what it looks like in natural light. Then at 4 hours, I'll see you guys back here when it's dark outside. Bye for now. Welcome back, you guys. It is 7:45. So I want to say I've had this on for just over 10 hours at this point. This was a seriously rough wear test. It has been absolute madness at work. The company I was working for ended up selling, and changing everything over is like a nightmare. I mean, it's basically like buying a home in a short period of time. Just as much documents, having to rehire all of the employees. It's a lot of work. I literally just stopped working at 7:45 on a Friday evening so that I could come up here and do the check-in with you guys. It just feels like it was a rough day all around. I didn't like the way that the foundation was wearing. I've never known it to break apart the way that it did on my nose, but as you can see, My oils came through as they do on my nose especially, and it broke it up. It just straight broke it up, and it looked terrible and cakey and heavy on my nose, and I just didn't like the way that it broke the foundation up. I mean, that happens. That is what I've noticed with having combo skin. Most of the foundations don't last a super long time, but when I know a foundation isn't gonna work for me, well, is if it doesn't last long at all, but also that my oils make a mess of it. They break apart the formula and it just ends up looking bad. I don't really mind if like my oils come through and it just like dissipates the foundation, but it's like right here. It's just breaking it apart. I didn't want to touch it, but normally I would just kind of like go like this just to kind of rub it in. But I'm so aware now of touching it or doing touch-ups so that I can do these wear tests that I just haven't been, so that you guys can see what it really looks like. Ooh, you know, this one's a tough one. I really can't remember how the Dr. Jart performed, and I didn't go back and watch the footage, but I know that I held on to it. And even though I think this is good, I feel like I've used a ton of this product already because I was using the heck out of this when I first got it. It's so hard to tell because there's a ton of air in it anyway, and it's such a lightweight formula, and I just don't need that many light kind of skin tints with SPFs. This one's tricky. This one's tricky. Let me just briefly watch the Dr. Jart one. Well, I was super dewy. I was even dewier that day in that wear test coming back. Like I can see like my whole face is just glistening. And my comments in that video were that it was literally pulling the oils out, and I definitely felt it on my skin. And then looking back at the footage, I definitely could see how textured my skin was in the video. I think this one's benefit is that it's just a lighter formula. It blurs the skin a little bit better. This one is really tough for me. I just didn't like the way that my oils mixed with it. And the chances of me using this in the sun where I'm gonna sweat a little bit more is probably about 100%. Oof, you guys, I'm really trying to cut the collection in half, and I always try to be pretty serious about, am I really gonna reach for it? Or am I just keeping it because I might? Because if you guys are like me, you're gonna reach for the same 5, just over and over. That's pretty much what I do all of the time. So far the tally has been, I have decluttered 17 and I have kept 15. I did end up making a couple of changes along the way. I think 1 or 2 I was going to keep initially, and then I changed my mind. Actually, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 so far I have changed my mind. Actually 5. The Too Faced Born This Way Healthy Glow Foundation, you guys, the one that ended up cutting off, and I deleted the footage where I came back to do my check-in because I'm just a delete happy dummy. And initially I had said I was going to keep it, but I looked back at the footage and then I really kind of sat down and thought about it, and I'm like, I'm really not going to reach for this. I would rather declutter it from the drawer and kind of like keep it in reference in case it becomes relevant in the next year. But otherwise I wanted to get rid of it. So I have changed my mind before, is the point, at least up to 5 times. I think I'm going to declutter this one. I just did not like the way that it looked when my oils started to break down the CC cream, BB cream. Yeah. I think it's beautiful, but I think it's beautiful for people with dry skin, or you're not worried about what your oils are gonna do to it. Again, something like a pool day, a birthday party, anything outside, that's what I think this is good for, not longevity, which I already knew. I didn't prefer the wear over the Dr. Jart, I think, and I can't even guarantee that this has SPF, even though it smells like it does. You guys will probably tell me whether or not it has SPF, but right now, I literally am going to declutter it. That is not at all what I thought I was gonna do. It's really surprising, but you got to make the decisions based on the way your complexion looks, and wear test is a wear test. So that actually makes declutter 18, and I am still keeping 15. So I'm definitely in the better. I'm in the red here, as they say. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I still hope you find this series helpful. I'm out of here this evening, you guys, and I hope to catch you all in my next one. Bye.